Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Morning Scone, Sunday edition. Forgive me here. I'm going to get this camera straightened up a little bit for you. We are presented by Boudreaux's Mix. Drew's here as well. What's up, Drew? All right. It's Daddy Drewby time this morning. And Mama. That's right. Y'all go check out our friends at Boudreaux's if you if you're planning on celebrating here on Memorial Day weekend. The margarita mix is fantastic, and the Bloody Mary mix, maybe you're brunching it this Sunday. The great thing about this is all you need is ice and vodka. Pour this over ice, add vodka, stir, and you are good to go. Appreciate Boudreaux's. Available locally at Calandro's, Alexander's, Calvin's, and then of course you can check out online other locations and more about it, boudreauxmix.com. So we appreciate Boudreaux's for sponsored Morning Scone. So LSU baseball is back where it feels like it's their rightful place in the SEC baseball tournament. Championship game. Amazing. The run they're on is amazing. So let's go over some of the game yesterday against Florida, and then we'll look ahead to what they're going to do today, most notably with the pitching against Ole Miss. So if you listen to the radio show on Friday, I was actually kind of hoping that that they might fall Friday to Florida, and not kind. I was hoping they would, because I didn't want to see Zach Hess have to come back on short rest. Didn't want to tax pitching any more than you already would. Understanding you've made a regional now, and you're going to be playing on Friday. So kind of looking ahead that there's bigger fish to fry, and didn't want to see LSU get stretched thin. And then kind of the worst case thing happened. They played Friday. That game got suspended by fog, and so then they had to resume it Saturday. They ended up winning that game against Florida. Obviously, yesterday morning they run-ruled Florida, which was good to see that they didn't have to go play the full 9. But when Paul Maneri made the decision to come back with Zach Hess against Arkansas, I was a little concerned, primarily because you look at Arkansas, that game, and Hess pitched on last Thursday, then in the regular season series finale. Thursday, it came back on Tuesday through 50 pitches, and then on 3 days rest, came back and threw 97 pitches yesterday. And now he's going to have a short week before regionals, assuming he throws Friday. They may hold him to Saturday, the Marble game. It'll be interesting to see, what Paul Maneri likes to do there. But LSU, when you keep playing in a tournament like this, and as we've said, there's college rosters are not built to play 4, 5, 6 consecutive days. They're just not. You're built for a weekend series and then maybe a midweek game. And some teams don't even have enough starting pitching. Adequate starting pitching for all of that. But LSU's found a way, and so you give him tremendous credit. Paul Maneri goes into this tournament, hey, buddy, and he gives his guys Bia. Momo. Okay. Drew decided he wanted to come hang out. Okay. So you give Paul Maneri tremendous credit for finding a way with his team, always in this tournament, to get him ready. I was on Twitter last night, in Jordan Faircloth. You might remember former LSU pitcher Jordan Faircloth messaged me, and he's like, paging Ryan Bird. And you go back to 2009, SEC Tournament Championship game, team that won the national championship. And Ryan Bird, I don't want to say out of nowhere, because he was certainly a big contributor that year, but Ryan Bird came up and wound up starting the SEC championship game against Vanderbilt and just locked up Vanderbilt for 7 2/3 innings, and of course LSU went on to win. The other noteworthy thing about today is that under the current format, remember after LSU missed the SEC tournament in 2011, that's whenever, and then missed NCAA tournament as a result. The SEC changed the format and to start on Tuesdays, where you had the first 4 teams got a bye. And no team that's had to play on Tuesday has won the SEC tournament under the current format. So LSU's trying to make history today if they can go on and win it. having played Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, we'll have played 6 consecutive days if they can beat Ole Miss today. So a couple of thoughts on the game yesterday. The kid from Arkansas, Campbell, looked awesome, man. He was dealing. If you watch the game, he ended up with 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. He was masterful. And then he allowed an infield single to Brant Broussard. Zach Watson took him deep. Thank God Zach Watson went yard, man. It's long overdue. Watson's the guy who at the top of the lineup, it just sits fastball and swings at the first pitch every time because he's fastball hunting, and he's just been missing. So it was nice to see Watson run that one out of the yard yesterday, and get his homer. It was only his 6th homer of the year, so it'd been a long time coming for Zach Watson. But it put LSU up 2-1, and then Zach Hess was really the story because what's interesting to me, and I wonder if this might be the case because Hess threw 50 pitches just a few days before. The command, I don't just mean with his pitches, but just the command of the entire game on the mound. Hess seemed to be in complete control of his emotions and the game the entire time. And it's so evident when Zach Hess is working the way he did yesterday as opposed to laboring on every pitch. He ended up throwing 97 pitches. Zach got 7 strikeouts over the course of 7 innings with just 2 walks, the 1 earned run, the 1 hit. The 1 hit was the solo home run. But it's more so even just his demeanor. When Zach Hess can give you 7 innings and throw 97 pitches, that's amazing efficiency. And you talk to starting pitchers and they'll always talk about strike 1 and initiate contact. A weak fly ball out is just as good as a strikeout, but sometimes even better if it comes on the first pitch of the at-bat. I mean, Zach had, in the first inning, he had 2 outs on 4 pitches, which, is very un-Hess-like. So if Hess is giving you that kind of efficiency, then he can be a dominant starter. Maybe he felt like he had to be because he didn't have, he needed to pace himself throughout the game. So whatever the case may be, LSU really seems, with their staff anyway, with a staff ERA just over 2 in Hoover, whereas for the season, the staff ERA is over 4. They seem to have found, hey, buddy, what's the matter? What's the matter? Come see me. You want to come talk to the people? Sorry. Come see. Let's say hi. Come say hi. Okay. I'm sorry, but hey, look, go watch Mickey Mouse. We're gonna go for a ride in the car later. We'll go for a ride in the car later. You go for a ride in the car? More to the mall? We're not going to go to the mall. Papa. Bye. Okay, go. Okay, so. Sorry. Dad life. Anyway, so, I forgot exactly where I was with that, so my apologies for that, right? But, Hess, yeah. So when Hess is that efficient, he could be dangerously good. It could be a starter, but it's just we haven't seen him with that level of efficiency much this year. He labors and he gets his pitch count up, which is why it's tough for Zach to extend deep into ball games. But yesterday, he was masterful. So the other note today is the game today. Paul Maneri announced, or actually Luke Johnson of The Advocate tweeted it last night, that Caleb Gilbert's going to get the start today. So this is kind of what happens whenever you get this deep into an SEC tournament, where you kind of run out of options. Now, Caleb Gilbert pitched 2 days ago. He started the game Friday. He started the game Thursday against South Carolina, the one where Todd Peterson came in through the 5 innings of relief. So Gilbert has had 2 days off, but he went 3 1/3 in that game and just kind of ran out of gas. So if I'm guessing, first things first, I thought Maneri was going to throw Mikhail Hilliard today. I'm so glad he's not. And I know, I was hoping he wouldn't, but Paul is in it to win it, and he came back. He brought Zach Hess back on short rest after throwing him on short rest, knowing now he's going to have to throw in the regional likely on short rest. And I would have never thought in a million years that Hess would have thrown 97 pitches, especially when they brought him back after an hour and 26-minute rain delay. I mean, those are the types of things that give coaches a bad reputation for misusing pitchers. I'm just going to say that frankly. I'm not saying Paul does that. I think he and Alan Dunn are meticulously careful, but what happened with Zach this week is one of those instances. So given that, I thought they probably would have given themselves the best chance to win this tournament by throwing Mikhail Hilliard today, but I'm glad they're not. It would be a bullpen day for Hilliard, so maybe it's one of those deals where he could give you an inning instead of throwing his bullpen, which isn't a bad idea. But as far as Caleb Gilbert, I would say they're probably looking at him today against Ole Miss, kind of like what Paul did with Russell Reynolds in Omaha last year. Just get him off to a good start. And Reynolds he was perfect, or I should say, wasn't perfect. He faced the minimum through 3. One guy got on. I think they erased him with a double play. Hey, baby. So if Gilbert can give you 3 and hand it off to the bullpen, then you can start to look at what your options are. Maybe you get an inning from Mikhail Hilliard instead of a bullpen. Trent Vetmeyer should be available. John Kodros would be available. You can just sort of look at those names. They let Todd Peterson warm up yesterday. Maybe you can get an inning from Peterson, although he threw 5 innings just on Friday that I'd hate to think on short rest you're going to bring him back again. But so much of that I think is going to depend on where you are in the game, right? So if it's competitive, then I think the competitive spirit kind of flows and you start to think, okay, can I get an inning out of Peterson? Should I let Hilliard throw an inning instead of throwing a bullpen? Do you go back to Cam Sanders, who's had 2 extended relief outings already? He was dominant against Florida Friday night. So that same situation as having just yesterday off. You're in a little bit more tenuous situation with Gilbert and with a guy like Todd Peterson. I don't, after Bush threw 2 innings yesterday, it's so hard to imagine bringing him back because he's probably a guy that's going to start the 3rd game of the regional for you. So it's just tough. You're in the SEC tournament championship game, and you're probably going to have to rely on arms like Taylor Peterson and John Kodros and guys that just haven't been in big spots for you, but those are the fresh arms. So it's like whoever can get you outs at this point is going to take the ball and try to get you outs, and if you're Palmineri, you just have to have a quick hook. The other side of that, I looked on Ole Miss's Twitter, and they hadn't announced who was going to throw, but I think someone had tweeted me saying that they thought it was going to be Caracci. Either way, look, this is an Ole Miss team that LSU saw in Oxford. I can't find it. This is an Ole Miss team that LSU saw in Oxford, lost 2 games there. Actually should have won the Sunday game, didn't. But, Todd Peterson for all tournament team. I'm reading the comments there. I'll put it to you this way. Ole Miss is now playing for the 5th consecutive day. So I don't think anybody has a decided advantage in this game. I think Ole Miss is the much better team this year. They've certainly been more consistent. But when you get to this point in the tournament, where for LSU they're playing their 6th consecutive day, for Ole Miss they're playing their 5th consecutive day, when you get to this point in the tournament, there's no great option. You just pick the best option available, and you run them out there, and you hope that they can get outs. So, let's hope Caleb Gilbert can go give LSU a good start. Cajun Legacy said, who's the weird-looking guy? Where's the beard? Told you, man. Wife hated the beard, so decided to shave it yesterday. I'll grow it back. Anyway, so here's hoping Caleb Gilbert gives LSU a good start, and offensively they just get off. If you can get off and go score about 6 or 7 runs today, that should be enough in this ball game, and then let LSU's pitching staff piece it together. LSU's going to have a crowd advantage, as they always do in Hoover, but... Oh, the other thing, I've been asked a lot if LSU could host a regional if they win the tournament. The answer is no. And I asked, because it was intriguing enough watching the RPI rise, now that LSU has wins in consecutive days over their RPI number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, it was worth asking the question. And I did ask people, let's say people who would know that, and was told point blank, I said, what chance? And they said 0 chance. So that's as definitive as it can be. I think the best you hope for is you go on the road in a favorable situation, you end up a 2 seed in a regional, you could win. But look, they're in, and they started. They started the week Tuesday, likely needing a win just to get in regionals, and now you're legitimately talking about, hey, could they host, and asking it like thinking it could be a legitimate question. So it's been a remarkable run there in Hoover for these Tigers. We'll see if they can finish it off today. Just don't abuse any arms and get ready for regionals, because that's of greater consequence right now. So I'll remind you again about Boudreaux's, the Margarita Mix, and the Bloody Mary Mix. If you're hanging out by the pool this Memorial Day weekend or getting out to the beach, check out Boudreaux's. All you got to do is shake, pour, and drink. It's really, really easy. It takes all that guesswork out of it. Started by my friend Darren, who is a Homa native. Shout out Vanderbilt. So buy a local product and support Boudreaux's mixes. Boudreaux'sMix.com. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff for updates. And if you go to your local grocer and they do not have Boudreaux's, please find the manager and demand that they carry it and say, hey, look, it's good enough for Morning Scone. It should be good enough for your store. So I'd appreciate that greatly. Okay, we will have a show, of course, tomorrow on Memorial Day. We will have an AFR as well. So if you're hanging out by the pool or whatever you're doing on Memorial Day, make sure you're listening to our radio station all throughout the day, because we will have all of our local programming, because, of course, that's when the regional field is announced. So we'll know LSU's postseason destination. So all that's coming up on Monday. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button if you have not done so yet. I appreciate you. Y'all have a very fantastic Sunday. We're going to the Moscona Family Crawfish Boil in Canberra. So I'm going to see family today and enjoy this game. And here's hoping LSU can win another SEC tournament championship. Okay, y'all. Until tomorrow. See ya.